individuals had been shot. Two male victims, one female victim. One of the male victims is deceased. The other male victim is in grave condition. The female victim is being treated at a local hospital. While we were at that scene, we got the report, a 911 call, report of another shooting at the Giant Food parking lot on Connecticut Avenue in Aspen Hill. The woman was sitting in her car and had been shot. She is deceased. While plainclothes officers had responded to the scene of the shooting in Aspen Hill, they were circulating in the area looking for any information or witnesses or any lookouts. One of the plainclothes officers observed a vehicle, a silver vehicle, that matched the description of a homicide that occurred in Prince George's County last night. The tag number also matched to that vehicle lookout. We had a description of the suspect from the homicide last night that was in that vehicle, and the plainclothes officer spotted that individual at the Dunkin' Donuts in the Northgate Shopping Center in Aspen Hill. They had this individual under surveillance, and when the individual walked back to his car, the plainclothes officers were able to take him into custody without incident. The suspect's name is Eulalo Tortle. He is in custody now with the Montgomery County Police Department. With me is Chief Hank Stawinski from the Prince George's County Police Department. We have been working in close communication with Prince George's since last night regarding the homicide that occurred in Prince George's. They had passed along information last night, passed along further information that we had gotten this morning regarding their homicide. And that's one of the reasons that our officers were aware of the lookout and aware of the vehicle description from their case last night. And we have remained in contact and been working with Prince George's since that time. So, Hank?
Good afternoon. I'm very sorry to come before the community as additional violence has occurred, but as Chief Manger said, and I would just like to reach out and thank Special Agent in charge of the Baltimore Field Office of the FBI, Kevin Perkins, Superintendent of the State Police, Bill Palazzi, Chief Manger, law enforcement throughout the metropolitan area. Since last night, our investigators and our undercover apprehension team have been working diligently to make apprehension on this individual using a number of different methods. It's tragic that we were not able to intervene prior to additional victims being harmed, but I am pleased with the fact that this individual has been apprehended and now we can restore some degree of peace. I'll be available to answer questions about the Prince George's County incidents and about the overnight, but I do want to take the opportunity now to turn it back to Chief Manger because I believe Mr. McCarthy wants to say a few things as well.
Good afternoon. I'm County Executive Ike Leggett here in Montgomery County. It's always sad to come before the media when we have deaths that have occurred in our community. But I want to acknowledge and thank overall the community, apologize for the inconvenience for our school kids, but more importantly, to thank our law enforcement officers, especially those here in Montgomery County, who in cooperation with those from Prince George's County and the FBI, I think have done an excellent job. A job that we can be proud of, but a job nonetheless that we hope we would not have to come before you to explain the details, the fact that we've had death and the fact that we've had disruption within our community. But it pays for all of us to pay attention to the concerns, the challenges that we face, but also to recognize the great work that our law enforcement officers do each and every day. And I believe that we are going to go forward with this investigation now. And I'd like to turn it over now to our state's attorney, John McCarthy. John?
I wanted to begin by just echoing comments of Mr. Leggett just a moment ago about the extraordinary work of the Montgomery County Police Department. And obviously we would not be here today if it had not been for the coordination between both Prince George's County and Montgomery County that gave information and allowed us to identify this vehicle in this parking lot earlier today. But because of the events that had preceded the apprehension of the suspect in this case, to do this without incident, without additional loss of life is really an extraordinary effort. And again, the people of Montgomery County should be very, very proud of of the police department. In terms of the charges, I will tell you the suspect in this matter, the events today unfolded very, very rapidly. He is in custody at police headquarters here in Montgomery County. We would anticipate that the formal charges against the suspect will be lodged within several hours. The precise nature of those charges will obviously be related to the homicides that have been spoken about here today and other possible charges. By Maryland law, the suspect will have to be brought before a Maryland commissioner today on these charges once those charges are lodged. He will not be released from custody. He will be held in custody. The first formal time that he will be arraigned in open court will be Monday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the Rockville District Court. I'm going to turn this back over to the chief. I know you have a question, but I'm going to let Tom open it up for questions. I'll be happy to answer any of the questions anybody has.
A little over an hour.
Chief, what was the relationship between? What do you believe the relationship to be between the suspect and the victims today?
The victims today, the relationship between the suspect and the victims today, we don't know. I mean, at this point, we don't know of any connection, but that's still very early on in the investigation. That's certainly something that we're looking at.
Big minor point. We've had a number of witnesses tell us that he sat in Boston Market and ate lunch for an hour.
Yes.
He did do that.
The suspect was actually in several of the businesses here, knowing that the suspect was armed, knowing that the suspect had made statements about what he intended to do. We needed to make sure that the public was safe when we took him into custody. Our fear was that he was armed, and since he had already shot 4 people today, we certainly did not want to have any other bloodshed here, and so the plainclothes officers waited until it was safe to take him into custody, and that's what they did. I'm sorry. We had him under surveillance, and he again was walking from store to store, and at no point was it safe to take him into custody until we did.
What kind of weapon did he have? What kind of weapon did he have?
The vehicle had the weapon was in the vehicle when we took him in custody at his vehicle, and I don't know the type of weapon it is. I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. My only reaction is that my officers had the well-being of the public in mind, and kept him under surveillance, and were ready to act if they needed to. They wanted to knowing his behavior today, and knowing of statements that he had made in the past, we did not want to endanger anyone and have a shootout when we took him into custody, and that's why he was taken into custody the way he was.
Is that what he wanted? Was a shootout? Is that what his prior statement was?
I can tell you that there was some thought that he that may have been what he wanted. Say again? No.
Did he have a weapon on his person or just in his vehicle?
At the time we took him into custody, it was in his vehicle. I don't know if it was on his person while he may have taken it off his person when he got in his vehicle. I don't know.
Chief, a question for both chiefs. After the shooting last night, was there concern that he might have specific other targets, that he might still be violent, still be looking for specific other people tonight?
So last night in the overnight hours stemming from the Prince George's County incident, our undercover apprehension team had been working all of the addresses we could associate with this individual, as well as using phone tracking and LPR technology to track the movements. And unfortunately, we were not able to apprehend him prior to him getting to Montgomery County this morning. But again, I want to thank Chief Manger and his team. We immediately had deputies from Prince George's County, deputy chiefs up here coordinating with theirs. And as sad as the events of this morning are, it is resolved and there is a degree of safety restored.
Chief, you didn't really answer his question, though. I know you just started to talk to him, but do you get a sense that it's anything more than a coincidence that this spree ended here, where the sniper spree began?
When I came here this morning, and many of you probably were here years ago when the snipers came here, the command bus, the night that the sniper attacks occurred that morning, was virtually in the same location. And if any of you actually remember, when Lee Boyd Malvo and John Muhammad committed those murders here in Aspen Hill, they actually went and did not leave the area, and they ate in the same restaurant where we were having the surveillance here today, which was an irony that was not lost on me. But
The same restaurant as in the Boston market.
same Boston market, and we were in the same parking lot during the sniper shootings.
Yeah, Chief,
The-
this was for the
You don't know if it's more than a coincidence.
I think it's a coincidence. I will tell you there's some information that the suspect that is in custody did live in this neighborhood at some point in time, so he came back to a neighborhood I believe that he was familiar with.
Chief, you didn't really answer Garrett's question when he was saying, were there other people you were concerned he might be going after? I mean, clearly...
Well, again, my response to that was that we associated him with several addresses. We went to those addresses not only out of concern that he may arrive there to harm other people, but that he may attempt to secret himself there. So all of those, as well as other areas, were being looked at actively. Prince George's County police officers, myself, we have not slept since last night in an effort to apprehend this individual.
One more question. Is there a belief that the people today could have been related to some of those addresses? It's just too early to tell?
It's too early to tell. There was no immediate connection, but we have been able to talk to two of the individuals who have been shot, and there's certainly at this point has been no immediate connection in terms of a relationship with the shooter. But again, that's still up under investigation.
Thank you very much. We'll have more information in a release as that information can be confirmed and then put out to the media and the public.